welcome back to another Project Diablo 2 video. I am 7Hawk77, also known as Kordesh, and today I got something a little bit different for you. So we're going to be talking about how to get rich in Project Diablo 2 for the upcoming season. So we've got a couple topics for you today. I'm not going to read these out to you. So yeah, if you're wondering why you should listen to me about this, I had about 20 high runes worth of currency last season, and I decided to build an infinity for a meme build. As far as my main Fist of Heaven's Paladin, I basically was like 2 corruptions away, and I needed a perfect Arax, which I could have gotten, but I spent money on Enchantress Sorceress that did not pan out. And then I got COVID, so I kind of stopped playing for the league. So yeah, I made a decent amount of money, and if that doesn't interest you, I do have an MBA, so I know a little bit about business stuff. But yeah, so that's kind of my credentials, as you will. And so let's talk about a little bit of an introduction. So Project Diablo 2 is a player-driven economy, and what that means is the economy and what things are worth are completely based off of other players. If there is no one at all that is playing an assassin, a Hellfire Torch for an assassin won't matter. No one's going to pay for it. So there's a big supply and demand versus the scarcity of items. So I think one of the important things is early on in the league, there's always going to be a survey that's going to be on Reddit, it's going to be on Discord, and it's going to tell you which characters are going to be played. So Necromancer is always wildly popular. There's usually a lot of sorceresses to start off. Depends on the season. But yeah, so look at this, figure out what is underplayed, do a little bit of research on, what builds are popular for those classes, and that will allow you to know more information about, what items are going to be valuable, what's not going to be valuable, things of that nature. There's one other thing that's a general idea that I wanted to touch on here, and that is liquidity issues within Project Diablo 2. So trading has a lot of friction. And when I say friction, I just mean it's like a difficult thing to accomplish. In other games, there's auction houses like in World of Warcraft. You're going to have to overcome these things. And the best way to handle this liquidity issue is you're probably going to only be able to buy items with runes. And so that means you're probably going to be only selling your items with runes. So just be ready for that. Know the value of runes. Try and figure out the value of items. I'm going to have a price checking later on. But yeah, so just understand that there are going to be liquidity issues on, buying and selling. All right, next up. So how do you get like giga rich where you have like 100 or 200 high runes more than anybody else? So you're probably not, if you're watching this video, you're not going to be able to do this. But let's take like someone like Lucky Luciano. That dude levels faster than everybody else. He's farming before everyone else. And then he starts killing Ubers or Diablo clone or whatever on repeat before most people like get their first grand charm. Now, if you are the first person to do Ubers and you have that first Hellfire Torch, what can you do? You can sell it, and you can sell it for a lot. Let's say I'm Joe Schmo, I just got into hell and I'm farming some pits, and boom, I dropped like a fucking jaw rune or something. Like somehow magically I got a very awesome high rune. Now, I see Lucky Luciano, he's killed Ubers, and he has a torch for sale for that jaw rune. Well, that would be a huge power spike for my character, so fuck it. Yeah, maybe I'll spend that and get the Hellfire Torch. I've never actually had a Hellfire Torch before. I'm a Joe Schmo. And so basically what happens is he has the ability, or like not like I'm pointing him out specifically, but realistically it's players that get to bossing and start killing these bosses faster than everyone else can really accumulate vast riches in this game. An unbelievable amount. You have to have a lot of knowledge, a lot of skill, and you have to be able to put a lot of time into it. And yeah, you just have to be able to boss faster than everyone else. It's very similar in Path of Exile as well. So I'm not going to be able to do this. There's no way. But if you want to get giga rich, this is how you do it. You have a lot of work cut out to do this. So get to researching, get to stepping. So yeah, so how are we going to actually gain wealth if we're not going to do that? So the first thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to have a plan. And so specifically for your character leveling experience, you need to know how you're leveling. Are you grouping up? Are you soloing? what are you doing? How are you going to farm right as you hit hell? Are you going straight to the pits? Are you going to say, fuck that, try and boost all the way through, kill Bale, and then start doing cows? Maybe you can kite the cows because you're a Frozen Orb sorceress. Like, you have to know all these different things. You also need to know basically what to farm with your gear level. So what are you going to farm with no gear? Are you going to be putting 3 perfect topazes in a helmet and 4 in a body armor and use that magic find to find items and then sell those items to try and leverage into something else? You need to know what gear level and how you will farm at all those things. So you need to plan way before launch, and you have to really iron it out. If you need to do testing, I would highly recommend go ahead, pay the money, and get into the beta and do a little bit of testing. I've already done a little bit of testing for my character. I plan on doing a Warcry Barb. I tried leveling as Warcry. It was trash, so I'm not doing that. So yeah, so you got to have a plan, and then next you got to execute the plan. So as far as executing, one thing that I see, well, I'll touch on that a little bit later. But the third thing that I want to talk about is let's be ready to grind. So action RPGs, Diablo 2, Path of Exile, whatever, Torchlight, whatever the game is, if it's kind of like a slot machine. You're going to have to keep pulling that lever. Every time you kill a monster, it has a chance to drop that high rune, that really good item. You're going to have to keep pulling that slot machine lever for you to hit the jackpot. So, sorry. Yeah, so the best way to pull that slot machine lever is to just kill monsters, and you're going to have to kill a lot of them. So be ready to grind, have a grind mindset, and know where you want to grind. Like for me personally, I hate grinding cows. I hate going to get the leg. I find it boring. I don't want to do it. I really enjoy farming the Chaos Sanctuary. I could grind Chaos Sanctuary all day, every day. So I specifically will pick a character that is going to do Chaos Sanctuary. So anyways, we're going to move on a little bit. I did want to point this out. Having a life does not prevent you from gaining currency. So I have a full-time job. I have a wife. I have a child who is 1 year old. And yeah, I don't have a lot of time for gaming. Now, the big thing is you have to have a plan and you have to execute that plan. So if I have about an hour and a half or 2 hours that I can game in a single night, I'm not wasting time. I'm getting on. I've got my map rolled. I'm going to start crushing that map. I'm going to level that character. I'm going to do whatever I need to do. When it's game time, I am executing the plan. So it is very important that you don't waste time. If you start blurring the lines of trying to make your plan during your game time, I find that you're just going to be much, much slower, and it's not going to work out overall. So I did want to kind of showcase this. Like I said, I have those restraints in my life, and I play Path of Exile, and the new league has been pretty fun for me. And so big thing for me in Path of Exile is I don't have a lot of time. Normally I can play for about an hour and a half, 2 hours a night, and I want to make between 3 to 6 exalts per hour when I'm able to play. So if you're not familiar with Path of Exile, an Exalted Orb is basically like a high rune. It's a very sought after currency item in the game. And right now, as you can see, generally I try whenever I play, I'll click this for about every single hour, and I'll see if I'm making my 3 to 6 exalt mark. It's a lot easier to make money in Path of Exile just because trading is not has as much friction. It's very easy to sell things and move things and liquidate things, so it's a lot easier to get that to tick up. But yeah, so whenever I play Path of Exile, I go hard as a motherfucker. I have a very strict plan on how I like to farm. I've updated that plan when I find better options. But whenever I'm able and ready to play Path of Exile, I fucking log in, I roll my maps, I start crushing it, and I don't stop until my until my 10 maps are done or 20 maps or whatever I planned for that little grind session. I don't stop unless my kid wakes up. Then I got it. We're done. So yeah, you got to have the plan, and you got to execute the plan. Even if you got other constraints, you can still make money as a dad with little game time. So let's go on to the tips. I've already covered plan. You just make your plan. Start working on it right now. Right now. After this video, go figure out your character. Start looking at your items. Go figure out gear progression, farming progression, everything about what you are going to do during this season. Start planning it right now. Second, don't waste time. Execute the plan. I've already touched on that. We're going to move on. So aggressively listing trades. So I think that this is the most important thing is you need to price things to move. When you use the trade site, which is currently the best way to trade, but it's not very good. The trade site is fine, but it's there's a lot of friction. So you need to undercut everyone else, and you have to price your shit to move. Don't be a hoarder. If you find a Tal's amulet and you're playing a trap assassin, who gives a shit? Like, if you don't need it, sell it. Like, get rid of it and sell it for 80% of the whatever, because it's better to make 80% of the value of it and have it in your pocket than have 100% of the value of it where it's in an item that's not liquid and it's never going to sell. It might as well be deleted. It's useless. So price your shit to move. It's definitely a strong philosophy I have in this game and in Path of Exile. I'm very good at liquidating stuff in Path of Exile. I wish I could do that in this game. But yeah, so don't be a hoarder. It's terrible. The next tip I have for you is you need to upgrade your character. And this is important. I know this is kind of a normal thing to do, but when you make currency in the game, if you're making runes, if you're getting a Mal rune or a Gull or whatever early on, buy Grand Charms, buy a Power Spike. So I know for Fist of Heavens, as soon as you get the full Griswold set, boom, you can start flying through Chaos Sanctuary. It's smooth as butter. I know as soon as you have the Griswold set and 9 Grand Charms, oh, it's time for tier 1 maps. So if you spend them, like as soon as you get the money, you want to reinvest that back into your character, so that allows you to grind faster. So, early on without any gear, let's say you're doing a 5-minute Chaos Sanctuary. That's not great. Later on, once you get a little bit of money, you can get it down to, a little bit of gear, you get it down to 3 minutes. You can start finding those items faster. It is important to do this, reinvest in yourself and reinvest in how you will make more, money. The last thing I want to touch on is knowledge is power. And I'm going to leave you with a couple examples. So the more you know about a game or the trades that happen or the items or any of that stuff, the more money that you are going to be able to make. If you see that everyone is playing a barbarian and they all need a crafted set of gloves that requires some, like some perfect rubies or whatever, and you know how to craft these gloves, and on average they take, a couple, like 5 perfect gems and a couple low runes. Maybe you start listing everything on the trade website in those prices. Like, hey, I'm just trying to start collecting perfect rubies from everyone. And then you start crafting those gloves and just sell those gloves for a Mal, a Gull, whatever. You can make really good money, but you have to know how to do these things. So try and figure out and know what things are worth. And I'll touch on that in a second. How do you trade? Okay, so in the description down below, Lawsuit did it's not exactly a trading video guide, but it tells you how to price check. And that's on the Project Diablo 2 trade site. So I'm going to have that below. So yeah, you're going to need to know how to trade. You're going to need to know like what items are valuable. And the less time you spend looking these things up and just intuitively know these things, the more time that you could spend back on executing the plan. So those are kind of the tips. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I hope you enjoyed this. I know this is a little bit different from my other videos. And I have two other ideas. I've got the 8-man perfect dungeon comp coming up. And then I will have a video basically on how to level a Fist of Heavens Paladin. It's going to be very short and simple, I believe. But I think that might help out. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. And I'll see y'all next time. So take care.